With a cancer diagnosis, your life has completely changed from one moment to the next. And while you're still trying to somehow cope with the new situation, the therapy already begins. And you might be asking yourself, how am I supposed to manage all this? Of course, a cancer diagnosis is experienced differently by everyone. But one thing is certain, it's not easy for anyone. Right now, you're probably facing some really big challenges. You're often in the hospital, or you're stuck at home. Sometimes you don't know what's coming next, and at the same time, you have to go through treatments that are very stressful for your body. And as if that weren't enough, your body and your appearance also change. You might lose your hair, you get thinner, paler. Of course, that does something to you. Not just physically, but also mentally. That's why it's especially important right now not to lose sight of the positive things. Because despite everything, they still exist. I mean, sure, you didn't choose your situation, and you're not to blame for it. But dealing with it, that is your task now, but you can for sure learn how to do that. Because it has actually been scientifically proven that our behavior and our mindset can contribute a lot to how we feel. So what can you actively do to get through the therapy well? First of all, the most obvious thing that you can do is, of course, spend your time on things you actually enjoy as much as possible. Or, in short, do nice things. Yes, and these can be all sorts of things. Just think about what you normally like to do and keep doing it if you can. Even if it's for a few minutes a day, because as much normality as possible can really help you. That could be listening to music, reading, or drawing. Yeah, because you're not just sick, you're still also all the things you love and what you like to do. Maybe you even feel like trying something new. Something you've always wanted to do but never found the time for. Imagine you finish your therapy and you have a new hobby. Imagine during this time you've learned to play the guitar or learned to code. That would be something, wouldn't it? You can also use the offers for young people on the ward. It may seem at first like everything here is just for little kids, but there are also other activities such as games, sports, music, and other activities specifically for teenagers. Just ask about it on the ward in your clinic. And a simple tip, take a deep breath every now and then, if possible even in the fresh air. And if you can, stand up sometimes. Getting out of your room, getting a different perspective. All of these little things can help you feel less sick. And maybe also think about how much time you want to spend on the internet. Especially in a time without a fixed routine, you can get lost in the digital world very quickly. And if that takes up too much time, it can suck up your energy rather than give you any. It's best to schedule things like exercise or conscious relaxation, for example, to your favorite music for every day. And that brings us to the next point, how you can make sure you get through therapy well. Try to create structures that help you to consciously shape your daily life. Yeah? But what does structures mean and how is that possible in a situation like this? It's not that easy. Still, make some plans. So write down or use the Notes app on your phone to record what you're planning for the next day or what's on your schedule for tomorrow. For example, whether you have an appointment at the clinic, if you want to do something for school, or if a good friend is coming to visit. Writing down resolutions is also possible. For example, if you plan to do some exercises or go for a walk, maybe. But it can also be frustrating if it doesn't work out, or if you haven't followed through on something. So don't put yourself under pressure. And this also includes pressure on the topic of school. Stay on top, but only as best as you can. Because this will help you after your therapy. Because there is a life after cancer, and what can be motivating is, for instance, writing down goals and wishes for the future. You can probably think of a few things that you'd like to do when all of this is over, right? Yeah. Maybe a special trip or a vacation. When you're feeling down, the thought of it will remind you that beautiful things are waiting for you too. Even though you may not be there yet, you're definitely already closer than you were yesterday. So, and last but not least, it's always a good idea to confide in other people. So, stay in touch. Well, I know that it's not always very easy at all to talk about your feelings, you know. Yeah, maybe you don't want to burden others with it, or you're afraid of being misunderstood. But believe me, talking just feels good. Okay, it can happen, of course, that your family and friends don't always say or do exactly what you expect, or what you wish they would say, or how they would react. Remember, they also have to get used to the new situation. Maybe they don't even have a real idea of how you're feeling right now. so it would be good if you are as open and honest with them as possible. If you tell others what's going on inside you, you make it much easier for them to give you the support that you need right now. By the way, no one expects you to be strong or in a good mood all the time. And it's a similar thing with your parents. Especially in the phase where you want to become more independent, you're now more dependent on them again. Everything your parents do, they naturally want to do for you. Maybe you also notice that your parents are insecure. It's best to tell your parents what you want and how they can best help you. Even when you need time for yourself, or when you don't always want to be fussed over. And you can also talk to someone from the psychosocial team on your ward at any time. Sometimes it's easier to confide in a stranger than in someone who is close to you. And of course, it's also very important that you communicate clearly with the treatment team. Have things explained to you. Say so if you don't understand something, and also if you've heard or read something somewhere that makes you feel insecure. And feel free to ask your doctors and nurses what they think about certain situations, because all the people who are treating you are always on your side. They want you to get the best care you can possibly get, so they also depend on you being honest with them and not hiding anything. That goes for your mental well-being, but also when it comes to topics like alcohol, drugs, or smoking. The better they know, the better they can help you. That makes sense, right? So, and with that, you've now learned a few tips, and tricks on how you can feel more comfortable during your treatment. Do things that you enjoy. Make small plans for the day and for the future. And have the courage to talk to others about what you really feel and think. And to say it very clearly at the end, what you're going through right now, that is an incredible task. So don't forget to acknowledge that. You can be extremely proud of yourself.